Hi, everybody. Welcome to Off Limits. Thanks for joining me tonight on the show. It is Sunday, October 11th at 11:30 p.m. Central Time. It is National Coming Out Day today, so thank you for being gay and being out if you are. This is a day to say thank you for those who are out and to say those of you who aren't, come on out of the closet because it's much, much better out here than in the dank darkness of mothy clothes and stench. Anyway, if you haven't heard the show before, you can go to offlimitsshow.com and you can find out more about me there. You can listen to the show on iTunes and also under Gay Mass as well. And you can also listen to the show on iHeartRadio. And of course, Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. If you go there, be sure to like my show. And I appreciate you listening to the show. So, coming out is a long process for most people. And, you know, every year I do a National Coming Out Day show because I want to say thank you for those who've come out already. And to those who haven't, I want to say come on out. And the reason for that is because, you know, most of the time people who are in the closet are essentially a lot lonelier. They're not happy. They're by themselves, and of course they feel trapped. And you know, being in the proverbial closet is absolutely lonely, as it should be. And it is an incredibly devastating place to be. And of course, it leads to a lot of suicides in the gay community, just as a function of, you know, not wanting to disappoint your parents or disappointing your friends or family, whatever. It is not easy to be gay and be in the closet. It's not easy to be gay anyway, right? But it isn't easy, especially to be gay and hiding it. Hiding, you know, a part of who you are, hiding a part of yourself from the rest of the world is certainly a difficult thing to deal with. And, you know, all of us as gay people have to come out eventually because when I say that, I mean, eventually most of us do come out, but we don't always have to. But eventually most of us do come out. And when we do, you know, it's something that we all share, being GLBT people. And it is something that heterosexuals just don't have to endure or go through or have to face. It's something that's very distinct to someone who is gay. And unlike being heterosexual, when you're heterosexual, you're assumed to be heterosexual. Or you're anything, you're assumed to be heterosexual when you're gay or straight in this society. It isn't like you... most parents are saying, you know, oh, well, my kid may or may not be gay or may or be straight. I'm not going to have expectations about what they're going to be. I'm just going to love them for what they are. That is how everyone should be with their children, because children are not just a reflection of who you are, but they're specifically their own person, their own personality distinct from you. So it's important to remember that. And unfortunately, that's not the experience most of us encounter or have. Most of us, of course, are assumed to be heterosexual, and therefore we're forced to eventually come out if we do decide to come out sometime. And, you know, I came out when I was 14. I'll just quickly rehash a story I've told a million times for the past 5 years. I came out quickly when I was 14. I came out when I was 14 to my mom and my grandmother, whom I lived with, and both of them. And I only came out because I was kind of found out that I was gay by my mom. And you can go back and listen to shows to find out why. Read my memoir that's coming up, Walking Wounded. Anyway, it was difficult and scary. And of course, for a teenager, just finding out who you are and then being thrown into to a place where you have to defend that when you yourself are just figuring it out. It's a really hard place to be. And I came out really, really young. And most people come out later, or used to come out a lot later, like 19, 30, whatever, depending on the 20s or 30s. But these days, people are coming out a lot more sooner than I did when I was young. Sooner than most people did when I was young. I was 14. I came out really young. But most people didn't come out too much later, like I just said. So these days, I think with the advent of television and cable and just acceptance of gay people in general, it's made it far more accepting of people to accept themselves as being gay or lesbian or transgender or bi or whatever you are. And that's a great thing, of course. It's a great thing that we have that kind of acceptance these days. Of course, we're still not. It's not still not perfect. It never probably will be perfect, but it certainly is a far cry from what it was when I was in the early '90s when I came out. Actually, late '80s. Early '90s when I came out, or before that in the '50s and '60s and '70s and '80s. So it is certainly a difficult thing to do, but I think most people need to realize that if you are someone who's listening to my show and you haven't come out yet, I would highly advise it. Because the one thing I remember when I came out to my family, even though I was kind of forced out, I eventually had to come out to my friends at school and things like that, and my extended family. When I did that, I was finally able to be myself. And before that, I had always been kind of playing a role, the role of the dutiful, perfect son, and not perfect, but I mean, trying to get good grades and trying to make everyone else happy and meet everyone else's expectations and never really meeting my own, or getting to know who I was or getting to love myself, because I always had to pretend to be someone I wasn't. And so by the time I came out at 14, I was able to finally explore who I was and, outside of all of the influences of my family and my friends, and actually discover that for myself. And so it's a liberating experience, and one that is incredibly important in growing up and becoming a human being and becoming an adult, and really recognizing who and what you are and what you're going to be and what you're going to do with your life and all those things that are so important that heterosexuals don't have to contend with. And therefore, I think that's why a lot of we gay, lesbian, bi, transgender people are far more introspective, because we've had to be. To find out and understand ourselves better, we've had to sort of be that way. Most of us, not all of us. Some people are just pretty shallow. But anyway, so I want to say thank you to all those people who have come out in the past and have paved the way for the gay people who've come after them. We've had great pioneers in the gay community like Harvey Milk and people like that have led the way in the Mattachine Society. And if you don't know anything about gay and lesbian history, and you are a gay, lesbian, bi, transgender person or queer, then you certainly should brush up on it. You can always go to Netflix, and there's a ton of documentaries on there. There's plenty of books. There's plenty of things that really will educate you on what people before you have had to endure, including myself, my generation, the generation before me, and before that. And because it's a lot easier now than it used to be. And it's important to know where you've come from. And if you're a gay, lesbian, bi, transgender person, then you're part of our community and you should support it. So I want to say thank you to those people who are working to keep the gay community, to keep the gay community in the spotlight, and to continue to fight for our rights. And being openly gay is the bravest thing you can do as a gay person, and to make no apologies for that. I make no apologies for it. I haven't since I was a teenager. I've never, ever made apologies for it. I never will, because it is who I am. And how can you apologize for being who and what you are? You simply are who and what you are. It's not as if you have a choice in the matter. So, even if you did, fuck them. You are what you choose to be. What your life is going to be is up to you, not anyone else. So to direct. So never apologize for being who and what you are, unless who and what you are is harming everyone else around you, meaning harmful, hurting someone's life or something, not just disappointing them or whatever, but I mean actually hurting someone. Then there's no reason for you to apologize for it, and I never have, and you should never do the same. So be happy. And I think it's also important that, if you are coming out to your family and you have to contend with some really biblical or, highly religious or evangelical parents or teachers or employers or whatever, that you still stand up for who and what you are, and don't bow down to their way of believing, or let them allow them to talk you into the fact that you're wrong or something's wrong with you, because there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you. So you have to, standing strong in the face of adversity like that is not easy for most people. But don't allow that to change you. Allow yourself to be yourself, and allow yourself to be free and happy. So that's what I wanted to say about today. Anyway, last night we saw the movie The Martian. By the way, I wanted to talk briefly about The Martian. The Martian, it stars Matt Damon and Jessica Chastain and a lot of famous people, Jeff Bridges and Mackenzie Smith, I think's her name, and I mean tons of people are on there that I really like, and it's a really good movie, and it starts on Mars and it goes from there. And I'm not going to ruin it with any spoilers or anything, but I'll just let you know that it is. Some people may expect it to be something it isn't, and it is not a. Although there's plenty of action in the film and things that actually happen, suspenseful things, it's not an action film. It's more about an emotional. It's more of an emotional slash action film, or emotional slash suspense film, or something. I guess you'd say, because it really it really deals with issues of loneliness and also issues of. Basically, by the time I left, I recognized how much. I mean, I've always felt this way, but I really had an even greater appreciation for the fact that we have the planet Earth. Because if you have to live on and deal with Mars as an alternative to the planet Earth, if we fuck up this planet any more than we already have, and probably will, this planet's fucking beautiful and it has water and it has lush vegetation and greenery, and it's just an amazing place to be if you compare it to other planets in our solar system or anywhere else that we know about, obviously. So it is a really amazing place that we live in and on. Whereas Mars is just the opposite. It's very inhospitable and very difficult. You can't to grow anything, difficult to actually live there as a human being. The atmosphere is very thin. So you don't have a lot of oxygen. So it just is not a hospitable place to live. However, of course, they're considering, colonizing Mars in 2020 or something, moving people there and flying us there. People who choose to go there never come back. And I think the trip's like about a year, or I think it's like 4 years, actually, the trip out there. In the movie, it's only like a year to get there or something. But going in